Alright friends, now it's actually time to answer all those questions you guys were kind enough to send to me. And to do so I will use these notes because they do save me quite a bit of time. The questions are in no certain order, it's completely random, so yeah, let's start. Would you piggyback ride naked on Rossi or hump on Lorenzo? Absolutely yes, but I would still use protection. I'm talking about using a condom, obviously. Do you remember your first time riding a motorbike? Yes I do, it was a Puchmaxi Plus. I guess I was around 7 or 8 years old. My father was sitting behind me for safety support, but I was actually steering and accelerating the bike. It's a 50cc bike, by the way. We rode around the backyard, but that was a one-time experience though, because actually I was 16 years old when I started to ride motorbikes. Do you ride your motorcycle to work or simple errands? I would love to in the summer months, but I usually can't afford to, so I stick to public transport, which is excellent in Vienna, by the way. Do you have families / GF that disapprove about riding bikes? Good question. My mom doesn't like it, but she understands that it's the only thing left in my life which makes me genuinely happy and lets me forget about my sorrows for a couple of hours. So she doesn't remind me all the time how scared she actually is, and she's also terrified of watching my videos, which is quite understandable, I guess. What do you think about Moto Geo? It's an excellent channel and one of the few I watch on a regular basis, and Jamie Robinson is actually living my dream. How old are you? I am 26 years old. Winter is coming, and what do you do on off-season riding? Well, in German I would reply with W und W, which means W and W, and that stands for Wichsen und Weinen, which means translated masturbating and crying. How long did it take you to feel confident with riding the way you do now? I'd say I'm riding safely at a decent pace for 3 years now, this season included. So it took me about 5 years on the CB500 and an estimated 25 to 30,000 kilometers to get there. Where is your right mirror? Excellent question. Wait a second. This thing here, a so-called light block, was responsible for me losing it. In 7 years of riding it never happened, but in my 8th year it happened twice already. Let's say my riding line was a bit too ambitious. Na schön. Hätten wir das auch erledigt. Do you have a car? I can barely afford to have the little Honda, so no is the answer. What kind of work / study do you do? I recently started studying again, trying to get a master's degree in digital media technology. I already have a bachelor's degree in media technology. I used to enjoy making YouTube videos a lot back in the day, plus I'm into photography for more than 12 years now. That's how I got the idea to study something media related. And also 1 year ago I did an internship for a film production company, which was tough work, but I also enjoyed it a lot because the people in this business are all very interesting and pleasant folks. From time to time I'm doing small jobs for them these days, but since I only entered the business just 1 year ago, it's all donkey work I'm doing. It would be easier to get less annoying jobs in the post-production field, but since I absolutely hate editing and sitting in front of the computer all day long, that is not an option for me. Hi Schaaf, hello there. My question is, when you're leaning in, do you get off the side of the bike with the knee down, or do you keep your bum straight on the seat and just ride it out in the corners? I'm riding in the so-called neutral position, which means I'm not moving my body / bum an inch. On the little Honda, this way of riding feels best and most safe to me. Can CB500 help to get laid, or is it not that kind of bike? Oh my god. Not in 100 years, my friend, not in 100 years. Have you ever crashed or damaged your CB? I crashed her once in my first year of riding. No damage except one broken indicator and a couple more scratches. She got battle scars all over her from the previous owners anyway. And yeah, I also tipped her over a couple of times already. What's your dream bike? Well, in my dream world I would need at least 5 different bikes. One quick and agile naked bike for my daily needs, one super sport bike for the racetrack, a supermoto for fun, one big touring bike for long distance travels, and something like like a Harley for noise and lifestyle reasons. But to find out the actual models, I would need to test ride a lot. What is fastest bike that you've ridden before and its top speed? I haven't been on a lot of bikes so far, so the fastest one was actually a Triumph Speed Triple. I was riding it at more than 200 kilometers per hour on the German Autobahn, of course. What made you start riding? Actually, it was my brother's fault. He's 2 years older than me and he kept arguing with my mother for a whole year until she allowed him to ride a 50cc moped at the age of 16. Since I always thought bikers were the coolest people on earth, I obviously wanted to get a moped at the age of 16 as well. So thanks to my brother, I didn't need to argue with my mom any longer. I rode a 1986 Vespa PK50S with 102cc for 2 years. It was the best time of my life, by the way. For the first time I felt this freedom everybody was talking about. So it was clear to me that I should get not only the car driver's license but also the motorcycle license soon as I turned 18. So that's what I did. Soon after getting the license, I used my savings to buy the little Honda. What kind of people do you like to ride with? First of all, I don't care about how fast someone's riding is. Of course, it's great fun to ride quickly together, but it's not what I'm looking for in my riding companions. I'm actually interested in riding with people who are good-hearted, who are interesting and fascinating. They also should have a good sense of humor and don't take life too seriously, because in the end we all die anyway. I need people who are on the same page, on the same wavelength as I am. Actually, I can sum it up in few words easily. If you're trying your best not to be an asshole, then you are a person I'd like to go for a ride with. Did you ride another bike before you bought the CB500? No, she's the only motorcycle I've ever owned. I got her in early 2008 and I always thought this year was my 7th year of riding the CB, but I actually just realized that it's my 8th season already. So I'm having my little Honda for almost 8 years now and I've done around 40,000 kilometers in that time, which is also basically all the motorcycle experience I've got. Did you consider any other bikes other than a CB500 at the time? Yes, the old Kawasaki ER5, but there were better offers for used CBs, so I got myself a Honda. Do you like dogs or cats? I like all kinds of animals, but also on my dinner plate. I've won at the lottery and want to offer you a motorcycle road trip. You just need to tell me where you want to go and what motorcycle you want to ride during the trip. What would you choose? For a start, I'd like to tour around the Italian and French Alps and then start heading towards Gibraltar, following the coastline. And I would choose a brand new BMW GS 1200, just out of curiosity. Whew! I wondered, if you had to have just one hobby, not work, because of finances, which one would it be? Skiing, photography, riding, etc. Question mark, question mark. Definitely riding. Basically for reasons I already explained. But if you wonder about my other hobbies, well, I wouldn't call them hobbies actually, but I do have a lot of ways to spend my time. I indeed enjoy photography a lot. I try to spend a lot of times with my friends, where we usually just hang out and do something like watching football matches, go for food or drinks, or spend holidays together. I also like to watch good films. I still spend a lot of time searching for music on the internet. I also like to read books and the newspaper from time to time. Skiing is a lot of fun too, but since I live in the flat parts of Austria, I can only do it a couple of days each winter. It's expensive as hell, by the way. But at the moment I spend most of my time with my social media pages, going to and studying for university, and desperately searching for girls who'd be willing to go on a date with me. How did you get so good at editing videos? Also, how many nipples do you have? Okay. through simple trial and error. I started editing when I was 15 years old, and I'd say I was able to produce my first decent edits at the age of 23. If you spend a bit of time watching professionally made videos on YouTube plus working through some tutorials, I'm convinced you'll be able to learn the stuff which took me 7 to 8 years in just 1 year actually. Just don't make the mistake thinking you'll learn anything about editing at university like I thought I would, because I didn't. Reading books about editing is also a good idea, and I have 2 nipples which are surrounded by 43 small black hairs. Your favorite drink? The Viennese water from the tap. It's mountain spring water, which is quite an incredible fact for a 2 million inhabitant city. I don't like to drink too much sugary stuff because it messes with my power to weight ratio. I'm not kidding. Would you drive a Panigale Ducati for touring? No, since I prefer to actually reach my target destinations when touring. If you were stuck in an island, of course with super nice twisty road included, with a hot chick and a super sport bike, which one would you choose? Haha, choose only one. Depends on that chick being dumb or smart. If she's dumb, I'd take the bike without hesitating, because I don't really care about hot chicks. I'm all about cute girls with brains and ass. Road you want to ride but haven't been able to. I actually have a whole bucket list of roads I want to ride. I'd like to make a vlog about it, maybe next year. How does your balls fit on the seat? You'd be amazed to find out that my balls are actually rather small. They never get in the way, and maybe that's the reason why I can ride like I do. Which is the size of your happiness living in the mountains and traveling with his motorcycle? I would have big happy if I actually lived in the mountains, but I live in Vienna and it's flat like my chest around here. Do you need special underwear for your big balls? I need tight underwear and my dick pointing to the left, otherwise I can't go fast. Again, I'm not kidding. How did you convince your girlfriend slash mom slash cat that it's okay to record with a selfie stick? I told them that I'm a man on a mission. Can you talk French? Malheureusement, je ne sais pas parler français. For which bike can you switch the bus without problem of money? Triumph Street Triple RX. Why did you choose the GoPro over all the alternatives? Because there never has been an affordable action camera out there at any given moment which provided the same quality as the GoPro did. The GoPro's quality is still unmatched. I know what I'm talking about, by the way. What's your penis size? I find it hard to believe, but supposedly it corresponds to Austrian average. How do you find such awesome music for your edits? Thanks for not using the word video in your question actually. It's hours of browsing through SoundCloud actually. There is no secret source involved. I also follow my favorite artists on Facebook to not miss any new releases. Do you have a girlfriend? Smiley face. Yes! I'm actually right-handed, but I use my left hand for spanking my monkey exclusively. It's your turn to find out why. Just think about it for a second. Can you do a tutorial on how to get your sexy, deep German English accent? I am sorry, but I cannot do this. Have you ever considered motovlogging? If the weather allows it, I will give German vlogs a shot this year, because my English is not good enough to properly explain myself. That's why I'd like to use German and add English subtitles. How many times do you need to get new foot pegs? So far I've only changed them once, and it was at the beginning of this year's season, but I will change them again for the next season. Why do you always keep your fingers straight out when riding? Whoops. Looks tiresome. Because I'm always covering my brake lever with it. I want to be able to brake as quickly as possible all the time, just in case, you know. And the straight finger helps with putting it back on the lever as quickly as possible. Where the hell did you learn to corner like that? Aren't you afraid you are going to come into a corner too hard and crash/low side? I never attended any training lessons or cornering courses. I've never been to the racetrack either. However, I did know from reading in a big CB500 forum what was possible with the CB500 and a set of Bridgestone BT45 tires. So after 4 years of riding, it was my second time joining a group ride, and I saw these guys enter the corners quicker and with more lean than I did. And with the theoretical knowledge of the CB500's limits and me knowing for sure that I was nowhere near them, I simply decided to say fuck it and just entered the corner with the same speed as the other riders in the group did. And I didn't fall. And after 3 corners I felt good with it. Then I could start working on my riding line following the group leaders. From there on it all happened more or less automatically and with a bit of practice. Although I have to add that I don't ride much. In 8 years I've done around 40k kilometers on the CB. So riding fast on public roads is a matter of tricking your mind, not having skills. And being generally sick of life also helps with not being scared. If you don't have limit of money, what kind of motorbike do you buy? Like I said, I would buy a lot of different bikes, but I would need to try out a lot of them first. But at the moment I would get myself a Triumph Street Triple RX. Where/how did you come up with Schaaf for a channel name? It's my nickname on the interwebs since I was 11 or 12 years old, and there is a story behind it, but since it's based on a bad German pun, I can't really explain it with spoken words. I'll try to answer this in the video description. How do you prefer your steaks? Medium, rare or well done? I love good food. So medium, obviously. Is there any chance of you starting to do some reviews of new bikes? I would love to do reviews from my unique kind of view. I don't manage to get any bikes to review though, unfortunately. Are you a shower or a grower? An incredible grower, which is not the best thing to be in the showers, I tell you. What is the meaning of life? For me, that's living a life which doesn't allow me to think about the bad things too much. Plus trying everything not to be an asshole. How come you stick with your CB Schaaf? Is it just a lack of money that stops you from getting something faster/better handling? When do you plan to upgrade, or is there nothing out there you want? It is indeed because I'm lacking the money. There have been times within the last 5 years where I would have been able to afford something like an older 600cc bike, but that's not a reasonable upgrade for someone like me. I'll probably upgrade in 2 to 3 years. I also want to make another vlog dedicated to the topic of why do I stick to my little Honda, because it needs a bit more explaining. Now you may be asking yourself why I'm always lacking money. Well, I've been studying for the last 5 years, and I'm that type of person who always chooses time over money. And I never worked that much to be able to save enough money for a decent bike upgrade, because the little Honda was and still is good enough for me and other things were more important. So basically I always spent the little money I had on getting better gear for photography and filming, which is hugely expensive by the way. Spending time with friends also costs quite a bit, especially when you're going on holidays from time to time. Would you ever show us how you drive like in the city? My riding in town is either completely boring or completely insane. Both cases are not suited for showing on YouTube. If you could get any type of gear or addition to your bike or kit, what would it be? Definitely decent leathers. Definitely. Is your beard real ginger or you paint it? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. It's not painted, but rather it's a transplant made from real Irish pubic hair. Do you smoke weed? Weed is illegal in Austria, and it's incredibly dumb to discuss illegal drugs in public. Have you tried other type of handlebars? No, I bought the CB like that, but I've been on a CB500 with stock handlebars and it was horrible. What's the reference of your Econ rear suspensions? It's the best way to spend money on your CB500, for real. How long did you have a CB500? And it's not boring to ride on it so long. 8 years? It's not boring, but sometimes it's frustrating because many riders don't let me pass on the straights and sometimes I can't overtake them safely in the corners. But the feeling of satisfaction I get whenever I do successfully humiliate these morons on their big bikes is absolutely incredible. Do you and can you do wheelies or stoppies? wheelies. I can't, and I've ruined my head bearing with trying to do wheelies last season. I can't do stoppies either, but I can lock up my front wheel on purpose without crashing. I'm reaching 50, wondering till which age will you stop riding? I hope I can ride as long as I live, although I would stop road riding as soon as I'd get my own kids, because it's too dangerous. Why didn't you teach me how to drive like Schaaf yet? Because you failed to send me the 5,000 euro, which are the costs for this special training lesson. Do you get the adrenaline shakes after one of your major pec scraping rides? Not really adrenaline shakes, but rather incredible feelings of satisfaction. How tall are you? 184 centimeters. A friend of mine got a Ducati 796 Monstro as his first bike. He's a Ducati fanboy and I'm a Honda one. Could you come to France and kick his ass on the road to teach him some manners? Maybe he'll open his eyes and realize looks is not always the most important. Smiley face. No, I don't like fanboys of any kind, also no Honda ones. Are you planning on doing a meetup/group ride? I'm not doing meetups because I want to be able to choose the people I meet myself. I do love the meeting opportunities social media is giving me though. This year I made some fantastic new friends from all over Europe, for instance. Regarding all the questions, will you ever come to my country, this country, blah blah, there is not a single country on earth which I wouldn't like to visit at some point. But since my financial funds are very limited, I can only do very little traveling each year. I have to choose wisely where to go next. Usually I go for the places which offer the best riding possible. I hope in a couple of years I'll be able to see a lot more different places, not only ones with good riding opportunities. What is your ultimate dream in life? To be able to answer the question how are you with an honest I'm fine. Have you thought of making a third-person video of you riding, as in having someone following you with a camera? I will do that next year. What's your favorite alcoholic beverage? Vodka mixed with Red Bull. How do you downshift and brake? Front brake at the same time. Through practice. I focused on this on 2 or 3 rides and then it worked more or less. A little bit of ambition is all you need. Do you have any video riding on public roads where you needed to emergency brake during a corner? No emergency brakes, but I'm front braking during big leans quite a lot. Did you ever made love with the CB? Only on days ending with the letter Y. How many speeding tickets have you got so far? 1. For doing 11 kilometers per hour more than allowed. I stick to the limits because of financial reasons. I only go fast on twisty roads, where so far I've simply been lucky. Although you shouldn't forget the chances of me getting caught are not that high because I'm not riding that often. Why did you buy this CB500 at first place? Cheap price only, or was it something more, like known reliability, etc.? She was the most bike you could get for your money. I wanted to have something cheap which also allows long distance traveling. The CB500 and the ER5 were the only 2 options I had in this case. If you knew that riding a motorbike will kill you in 15 years time and the only way you could stop this was never to ride again starting from tomorrow, will you hang up the keys now and never ride again? Or continue with your passion knowing in 15 years time it's going to get you killed? Looking at my life right now and how's it been for the last 7 to 8 years, I would definitely take option 2. Riding my bike is the only thing which makes me truly happy these days. So I'd rather have 15 years of fantastic bike moments than a long life filled with misery. What happens if you get scared half to death twice? A simple change of underwear won't do in that case. Did you cry the day your hair packed its bags and left you? A lot actually. I still miss it like hell, and unfortunately I'm not joking here. Are you taken? If not, can we go out on a date? Specifically through Stelvio together. Heart emoticon. Only by my little Honda, but she doesn't care about a bit of polygamy. How do you pronounce that? So yes is the answer. Finally, when the bloody fuck are you planning on coming to Australia, man? Shouldn't you have said mate. Australians don't have sex, they mate. I'd love to go there for a university exchange semester, but once again it's not working because of lacking money. Are there any planned projects with other bikers from YouTube? I don't plan projects, but I do plan to meet people, simply because I want to get to know them in person. I'm not interested in collabs which are aimed at making my or someone else's exposure bigger. Fuck these kinds of people. Do you play an instrument? I'm good at whistling national anthems inside my helmet. Do you think Honda ZB500 is good bike for beginning of the adventure with motorcycles? If you restrict her, she's good for a start. Unrestricted, she's too powerful for beginners. A 250cc bike would be a better idea still, because they are even more forgiving than the CB. I stopped with giving advice on beginner bikes though, because people don't listen anyway. Their egos are usually too big and they end up with getting big bikes all the time, on which they will never properly learn how to ride. I don't know a single fast rider who hasn't started small, by the way. Not a single one. Why are you almost bald? I think it's bald. Is the Honda actually that fast that it will blow off your hair? Mental reasons. Being unsatisfied with life. Have you ever ridden your little Honda on any track? Will it happen in the future, and can we expect a video if it happens? No, I haven't, and it won't as long as she's my only bike. The racetrack is the only place where you can truly find your bikes and your own limits. But to find them, you need to go beyond them. So there's a 95% chance of me crashing my Honda on the track. It would be stupid to trash my only bike there. And no, I can't tame myself there. If you go to the track to go slowly, you're missing the whole point of it, in my opinion. Why do you sometimes sway going from side to side a little before entering corners? In my opinion, you are a very good rider on the road, and that swaying seems a little noobish to me. I do that to lose tension. Staying relaxed is my #1 key to being able to ride quickly. As soon as you tense up, mistakes will happen, guaranteed. What's your bank PIN and card number? I can give you my PayPal if you would like to donate. How do you handle people you don't like? I act as if they don't exist, or by making fun of them. Bonus question: Wann kommst denn endlich mal wieder zur GG? Bald, lieber Laure, bald. Die Lust ist lange noch nicht vergangen, aber ich hatte die letzten Jahre, es waren glaube ich Jahre, einfach keine Zeit. Oder kein Geld. Hey mate, I'd like to know what you do to earn money besides the YouTube dream. I've already answered the first part, but I need to mention that I earn 0 to nothing with my channel. It's enough to buy 3 to 4 beers in an average priced Austrian pub. What do you think about 16-year-old rides? Question mark. Do you mean 16-year-old people who are riding? That's great. Start as soon as possible. What's the best road you've ever ridden on? Also, have you ever been to England? You should. The best road is the Austrian Oxsattel. I've been to Exeter, England, when I was 16 years old with school for 1 week. I loved it, and I'll come back to your big island one day. Are you aware of the fact that you're living in a paradise for bikers? Are you aware of the fact that I'm not? Do you tell yourself that you have to ride at least XX kilometers or be XX days on a trip, or... See, I didn't do good formatting on this one here. Do you tell yourself that you have... Do you tell yourself that you have... ride. You ride at least... okay. To ride at least XX kilometers or be XX days on a trip or have XX trips at least per year. I'd like to have XXX trips if that's possible. I would like to ride about 10,000 kilometers each season. That's my only goal. The last 4 years I never managed to ride more than 5,000 each season, unfortunately. Do you mind having a pillion, a passenger, with you, like a girlfriend? I love the idea of going for a road trip with an awesome girl as passenger, but neither my CB nor myself are suitable for this. Was riding with RJ worth it being with more than one rider? My guess is that you really don't mind riding alone. Or am I wrong? Yes, you are indeed wrong. Riding with a bunch of friends is the best thing for me actually. It's the pinnacle of motorcycling. I don't like riding on my own for safety reasons and because I need others around me to share my joy. Unfortunately, it's not always possible to ride with others, so before I don't go riding at all, I obviously go on my own. Average kilometers a day on a trip when you ride by yourself. Let's forget about the riding by myself part. My ideal distance for a day is something around 400 kilometers. You're able to make some distance, but there's also plenty of time for breaks, which are important for chatting with my riding companions, which I enjoy a lot. Do you sometimes enjoy riding more when you don't intend to create footage for YouTube or Facebook? Or does the thought of, man, I should have brought my cameras along, pop up all the time then? It's probably the best question I received because I've been asking this myself quite a lot during the last months. YouTube has never been more frustrating for me than it is right now. For the first time I'm losing a substantial amount of subscribers. My videos, even though nothing has changed in them, get less and less views. I consider myself to be an entertainer, and even though I'm doing this for the love, of course I'm always interested in getting bigger audiences without having to sell my soul to the devil, obviously. Apart from my most loyal subscribers, people seem to lose interest in my stuff right now. Maybe this would be the best time to stop with this whole thing altogether and simply focusing on meeting people in real life who I found through my social media pages. On the other hand, I know I'd be missing my camera as soon as I hit a wonderful twisty road or come across a wonderful view, because I still have this urge to share my experiences with you people. Well, I will just squeeze out a couple of edits over this year's winter and see how it will go from there. Alright guys, this was it. Once again, thank you for all the questions you've been submitting. And if I haven't answered your question, you can simply type it into the comments of this video here and I will reply in the comments as usual. Until then, speed safe!